Structure Fire Investigation 1. On January 1st, 2020, I was called out to do the investigation for the structure fire. I arrived on scene at around 3 p.m., which was a little less than 2 hours after first arriving units. As I arrived on scene, all apparatuses assigned to the structure fire have already left to respond to another call a few blocks away to a call that needed urgent attention. Now, as I made my way around the property, there was nothing found of significance that may have contributed to the fire. I did make my way up to the unit, and as it's displayed in this layout, it's a one-bedroom apartment with a kitchen, a living room area, a little storage, and one bedroom. First thing that I did notice is that all the furniture that was in the apartment was in a condition that would not be expected in a typical residence, occupied residence. They were really beat up, they were dirty, they were very haggard. After looking around a little more, I found a broken television set here and some device behind it that was melted. Further looked under the device and around the device, and the char marks and patterns indicated that that was the origin of the fire. I continued away from the origin of the fire, what appeared to be the origin of the fire, and made my way to the kitchen. I noticed that there were these pour patterns that led to the stove in the kitchen. That is when I flagged this structure fire as possible arson. From then, I notified the proper authorities and closed out the case. As I was leaving, the family showed up. The owner of the unit, the family showed up with their attorney, and their attorney immediately approached me with saying that I entered the structure unlawfully. So what I did is I gave him all the contact information so he can follow up with his part, and I closed the case and left the scene. After gathering information from the investigation, case, and statutory law, there is strong argument to support that evidence gathered at the scene be allowed and shown in the courtroom. The foundation for the argument is based on the Fourth Amendment and exigent circumstances exception. Now, the Fourth Amendment protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures by the government, but it is not guaranteed against them, but only against those that are deemed unreasonable under the law. A warrantless search may be permissible if it falls within a recognized exemption to the warrant requirement or is otherwise reasonable under the exigent circumstances exception. In a 1978 decision, Michigan v. Tyler, the U.S. Supreme Court specifically applied the exigent circumstances exception to the fire service that allowed for warrantless entry for cause and origin investigation. Further, court rejected the notion that the justification for warrantless entry end as soon as flames are extinguished. It noted that firefighters might be required to undertake immediate investigation to preserve evidence from intentional or accidental destruction. In the Tyler case, the fire was extinguished at 4 a.m. and officials left the scene. They returned a couple more times later that morning to continue with the investigation. The court held that the early morning re-entry to continue the investigation did not require a warrant because it was nothing more than a continuation of the initial operation. In another case, a Florida court found acceptable that the warrantless entry immediately after fire and police discovered the fire. It also approved of several re-entries when the smoke had all cleared up to the point when arson was determined to be cause of the fire. Now, even after the cause was determined to be arson, evidence that was in plain view in sections of the residence where the fire was located was admissible in court. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hope you see the compelling evidence to support the argument which would allow evidence gathered at the scene be allowed in the courtroom. Thank you.